Hi, Erica. How are you? Are you feeling better?
I am feeling so much better, Chip. Thank you.
Oh, wow. You had me scared there. That sounded
I
horrible.
I had triple ear infections, one
Hmm.
right after another, and I actually lost my hearing for about 2 weeks
Yeah.
completely. I completely ruptured my left eardrum. It was not fun. Um,
Oh,
and so I was out of commission for a little bit, but I'm back.
oh man.
Regained.
There's a lot of pain involved in that, isn't there?
Oh, it was the worst pain I ever felt in my
Yeah.
life when my
Yeah.
eardrum ruptured. It was horrible. And
Oh,
yeah, it was yeah, I have some hearing loss because of it. And it was just yeah, it scared the crap out of me because I just lost complete hearing.
yeah.
And yeah, but I'm back. Um, yeah, it was pretty scary
Well,
for a little bit.
stay well, my friend. We need you
I
around here.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, but it did put me out of commission for a little bit.
Yeah. When I was a
But
kid, I had really bad sinuses and stuff. Actually, it sounds like torture, but my mother used to bring me down to this eye, ear, throat guy in Rutland, and they used to put these little, they were metal tubes up
ugh,
through the nostril. Felt like it was going into your brains. And he had this little bulb, and he pumped it up, and then he pressed something, and it sounded like an explosion in the ears. So if that doesn't break your eardrum, I don't know what would. But they said it was swimmer's ear. I'd love to swim.
yeah, yeah. I used to have
And
really
every
bad.
summer I'd get
Yeah.
infection in my ears. So
Oh, yeah. I used to have really bad ear infections as a kid. And
yeah, I think
yeah,
I grew out of it, but I hope now I'm picking up new shit, new stuff.
yeah. That's what happens when we get older. We pick up new stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm
But
sorry to report I never made it to the cow pasture because number one, I never still didn't figure out where it was. But somebody did say I checked at the turning point. One of the guys down there, the fellow that's working with the cops in Barre, Mark, I think his name is. He takes his dog up there to walk a lot. And he said that he was told over on the other side of the cow pasture, you enter from the Berrytown side. Apparently, there's some down there. He didn't say how many, but he thinks there's some down there. So if I could figure out how to get at that thing from the other side of the world, maybe we could find it, you know? Uh,
well, I have in the
uh,
hopper. I
I
have
don't know. I
five.
went by the Price Chopper.
Mm-hmm.
Price Chopper has a ton of tents out down there, way down the end of the staple side. Looks like a little village.
Yeah, there is a little village down there. I have five completed surveys that I haven't got to Jeremy. I guess we have to figure out how to get those to Jeremy this meeting. I think Miriam has some as well.
I missed the last meeting. I had a hockey game for my grandson.
That's
Yeah,
right. I got your email.
yeah. Hi,
Um,
Steve.
What's happened? Oh, you're watching hockey, you said, with your grandson?
Well, no, the last meeting I went to his hockey game. They're all done now.
Okay. All right. All right.
yeah,
Anyway,
but
hello.
hi, Stephen. I did get your text. We're just chatting, waiting for other folks to join. Um,
All
no, I
right.
have five. I have five completed. And I'm going to get some more this weekend because we have more folks coming into another way. So I have some new folks that said they complete some more, but I can get the ones I have completed to Jeremy. Um, it's just a matter of hooking up with him.
Is he on the agenda tonight? I forgot to look.
We have a report about
Oh,
survey and next steps on the agenda. That's the first thing. Well, second thing, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, we're just
So
waiting
we don't
for,
have,
go
so
ahead.
we don't have any surveys from any campers per se, right?
The folks
That we can do.
I have talked to are campers. Oh, there's Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the folks
Um,
I have are campers.
I mean, if we want to go beyond just Berry City and say, well, whatever happened, happened, it must,
Yeah, the folks that I
the
mean, we can
chief's
talk
aware of
more
it,
about,
we're aware of it. And go
yeah,
down and do Berlin.
yeah, we kind of jump, we're kind of jumping the gun, but the folks I talked to specifically, were campers and, have
Yeah.
had, I don't want to really use this term because we're being recorded, but have had, have talked to, I'll use that term, talked to the Berry City Police.
Okay. So they have been on task.
Yeah, that
So it
they've,
happened in Berry.
yeah, they've
Okay.
had encounters. I'll use that term. They've had encounters with Berry City Police.
Sure.
Yeah, even if you end up surveying people from other places who've been other places, it's all good information as long as
Mhm.
you're able
Yeah.
to distinguish.
Yeah, but hi, Jeremy. We're just waiting for, it's 2 minutes of, but, we're just chatting.
Cool.
I'm sorry for my absence. I got my hearing back, as you can tell. So yay.
What?
Yeah. That I've heard that joke a lot.
Yeah.
What?
That's a housing authority joke because we hold so many hearings for grievance and stuff like that. So I'd always say, Chip, I need a hearing. What?
Uh,
What?
so yeah, so I do have some
Oh, boy.
completed surveys, and I do, like I said, I do believe Miriam has some as well. So, um, and I hope to get more this weekend.
I guess we can talk about this more once the meeting gets started if we want to. Do you guys want to send them over to me and I'll put them in an Excel file or something, or
Yeah,
how do we want to combine them all together?
yeah, we can talk about that. We kind of,
Okay.
that's the second thing. There's Joe. Yeah, that's on the agenda, like the next steps. I don't know. Hi, Joe. I'm gonna give people 1 more minute because I like to start on time because it's late night and, people's time's very precious to me. And there's Phil. It's not yet 7 according to my clock yet.
Nope, we're good.
And we do have a quorum, so, and if you hear my dog bark, I apologize. He's 15 and I'm not paying attention to him. All right, it is 7 o'clock according to my clock, so I'm gonna get this meeting started. I do not see anything. My email has not chirped, so I'm gonna call this meeting of the Barre Homelessness Task Force to order. I apologize for not being at the last meeting. I was ill. I am feeling better, and thank you for all of your emails and texts checking in on me. It was greatly appreciated. So I do not see any visitors. And I appreciate you all being on time for the meeting. Let's see. Oh, hi, Tess. That we do have a visitor, Tess Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us in this rainy weather. I hope everybody is warm tonight. I do have a small screen, so I'm going to try to see everybody because have a lot of things going on my computer tonight. So do we have any comments or visitors that are not on the agenda tonight? Okay, seeing nothing on my radar. All right. I'm gonna ask for any adjustment. Cannot speak. I apologize. adjustments to an acceptance of the agenda. Any adjustments? Phil raises his hand. I can't hear you, Phil, you're muted.
Unmuted. Maybe approval of the minutes should be on here somewhere.
Oh,
Whoops, we forgot that.
Previous meeting, yeah.
Thank you. Let's stick that in right after adjustments and acceptance of agenda. And then there's a spelling error or a word error. List of pending legislation that will impact the number of homeless in the city.
Is that in the minutes?
No, it's
No,
under
that's on the
agenda item
agenda.
number
Okay.
4. But
but
yes, thank you for reminding us of that, Phil.
thank you, Phil. So
I
we'll
think
just,
I'd make
we'll
the
just,
minutes up, maybe that's fine.
yeah,
No.
we'll just slip that in under, that'll be the next thing. Thank you, Phil. And I apologize for the spelling error. Thank you for that. Anything else? Hi, Brooke. Thank you for coming in.
All right.
She kind of slipped in under the radar.
Always. It's good to see you though, and everyone else.
All right. Seeing none. All right. So can we have a motion to acceptance of the agenda with adding minutes under item 2.
So
Chip says,
moved.
okay. In a second from, all right. Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. So do we have minutes? Everybody's read over the minutes? Okay. I'm gonna take the Chip.
I'm gonna abstain because I missed the last meeting.
All right, and I am also gonna abstain because I also missed last meeting. Do we have
I have a correction. I put you, Erica, both as being there and as not being there, which is not possible. So I'll correct that. You weren't there.
well, you could have cloned me, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
I was in a NyQuil haze, so who knows?
Be a doppelganger or something, right?
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Stephen, a second? Chip,
Yep.
you've abstained, so you cannot second.
Oh, I can't second.
Second.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we moved. All right, moving right along. Thank you all. Report about survey. I do not see Miriam. I'm going to, and I have not heard from Miriam. I'm going to make the assumption she is working tonight. So with the survey next steps, we've kind of talked about this before the meeting started. I have been doing the surveys to folks that I work with at Another Way. I have 5 surveys filled out from folks that are camping and have encounters with the Barre City Police Department. I have not gotten them to Jeremy. Jeremy, what would be the best way to get those to you? I am technologically
Whatever
impaired.
works best for you guys is fine by me. If you want to take pictures of them clearly and send them over, or scan them, or I could even pick them up in person from you guys. I don't.
Right.
So yeah. Whatever
get,
is easy for you guys.
Okay, I can get you about 5 more this weekend.
Cool.
Can you email me your address and I can probably drop them off Sunday or Saturday evening?
Sure. Yeah, that works. Just so you know, I'll be gone Sunday, but you
Okay.
can still drop them off. I guess you can't legally put them in my mailbox, but
well, I don't think you live that far from me, so I can probably drop them off Saturday after I get off work.
yeah, or I can grab them from you the week after. I'm going to be just completely like basically out of commission for the following week. Just super busy, so I'll probably take another week to get to him anyway. So Yeah, then we'll just stay in touch and I'll grab them from you. I guess the question would be, how do I get them from any? I think we had a few more surveys filled out from, I say, Chip, you got some or?
Yeah, I still haven't been able to crack the cow pasture dilemma yet, but
Okay,
I was gonna suggest that I'm gonna continue to try that because apparently there's a way to get there from Barre Town, where they may be way over the other side of the cow pasture. Nobody can't find anybody in the regular cow pasture. I've had people go up there and look, but if you go over the cow pasture to the Barre Town side, apparently there's a way of getting in there, and people have said, yeah, they're right there. So I'll figure out where it is and just do it. In lieu of that, I mean, like I was talking before the meeting, there's a whole village down there, as we know in Berlin. I mean, I wouldn't mind going tent to tent if they don't mind and fill out these quick
Yeah, I don't, yeah,
surveys.
I
It's
know
not
where you're talking
necessarily
in,
Barry Police. Yeah, I see Berlin cops down there a lot.
yeah, officer, I know, it's off the tip of my tongue, starts with a B and I can't get it off
Is it
get out of,
Chad Bissett?
that's him, Chad, yeah. He goes down there a lot. There, so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, I mean, and I know Miriam has some as well, so I can probably text Miriam and get them from her. And we can just in a roundabout way just get them to you willy-nilly within the next week.
yeah, that works for me. Yeah, like within, I guess, there's this weekend at some point, on Saturday would work. But again, I'm not going to be able to get to them until the following weekend. So actually, even then, I won't be able to get to them to the following week. So
So we kind of have a deadline within the next 2 weeks.
let's maybe aim for we'll choose a day and aim for it. And then we can all coordinate around that. What would be a good day? Let me look at my calendar.
About March 20th, that's 2 weeks from today.
Yeah,
Oh,
March
yeah,
20th.
I think that's good. What day of the week is that?
It'd be a Wednesday. It's 2
Be a
weeks.
Wednesday. Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
We have a visitor with phone person ending in 231. Identify yourself, please.
Oh, hi. This is Mike Peabody. I live in Barre City.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi, Mike.
Mike. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thank you, Mike, for identifying
Oh, you're
yourself.
welcome.
Thank you, Stephen. As I explained before, I have lots of screens going on, so I don't see everybody. Thank you for that, Stephen. All right. So talking about the surveys, so we'll get those surveys to you for a deadline of the 20th, and I'll text Miriam to get those surveys to you.
Well, and then once I have them all, I mean, it'll won't take too long, but I'll check them in an Excel file or something. Do we have a specific action plan for what we want to do with them from that point, or?
Yeah, I think this meeting we're going to talk about the action is to submit a report, like a one pager to city
Okay.
council and say that, and the chief of police and say, this is what folks are saying, this is what they've encountered, and from whatever data we get from them, this is what folks are saying, this is what there's, from the conversations they've had, from the conversations we've had from you, this is the conversations we've had with folks.
Cool. Oh, so I'll format everything with that in mind.
Okay. Stephen, you have your hand raised?
Yes, and we discussed this briefly at our last meeting, perhaps. Whatever document is produced for city council, and yes, definitely it goes to the police chief, be aware that it will probably be requested by the media, because David Delcor will be aware that it's gone to city council. So when we write it, we may want to keep that in mind, that it will be a public document.
Absolutely. Anything we submit to city council and
Mhm.
the chief of police will be public document. Anything that comes from us, as well as these meetings is a public record. So
Chip
we
has
have,
his hand up.
oh, thank you. Chip, go
So
ahead.
I was just gonna ask, do you want me and probably hook up with Sam to do the Berlin camp? And we could ask specifically which police you may have had, which department you may have had interaction.
Absolutely. And if they want to discuss other
Maybe we'll
departments,
get
that's
some
fine.
Barry, or maybe not. Yeah, I mean, I imagine, yeah, I mean, police go all over the place. They're not like, they're not
Yeah,
corralled,
absolutely.
and they help each other out a lot, so.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll get a hold of Sam. I know where that is. I've seen the tents.
Yeah.
I will go down there and do it.
Yeah. Good on you. Yeah. Who knows? We might get reports from other precincts. Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Okay.
anything else on that topic? I'm looking around the room.
Nope.
Any other closing? Are we closing that chapter right now? Any questions? Mike, do you have any questions about that topic? We kind of have a freewheeling audience members can ask questions.
Oh, no, I'm just here as a listener.
All right, thank you so much. So moving on, Portalet proposal. Stephen, I believe that's you.
Okay, before I go there, if Tess has to go someplace and you're okay to go after me? Okay. I'm going to make, as I've sent to you, a formal motion so we can stay focused. I have two comments. First is my apologies for taking so long to do this. It should not have taken me that long. It's very simple. Second, if you intend to vote in favor of taking a request to city council, please understand that you will be voting and also agreeing as individual members of Barre City, if you're a Barre City resident, to contact council people. Because if you don't contact your counselors for follow-up, Chip tipped me off, and I think he's right. Given the budget situation, this proposal will go down the gurgler. And I will call you up and say, did you contact your city council person? We have to lobby for the proposal if we're going to pass it.
Mhm.
So with that in mind, my motion is that we request the city council to provide funds for 6 portalets that are ADA compliant, and including maintenance, that the estimated cost would be $1,500 a month, or 12 times 1,500 for the year. That's my motion, and we can't talk about it unless somebody's going to second it. All right. Chip has seconded it, and Phil has his hand up.
Yeah, let me just write that down.
I sent it to you. You don't have to write
You
it
know, I've
down.
got it. I know I have to write down who seconded it and who blah blah blah. I'm thinking, is that math correct?
The city the manager said to me, it's 150 a month for regular. It's 200 a month for ADA compliant. You throw in $50, 6 times 250 is 1,500.
Right, but then I mean I don't have a calculator in front of me, but it seems like it should it should be 18,000 annually, not 36,000, unless.
Whatever, we can correct that. That's
All
an
right,
error.
that was whatever.
Yeah.
That was my question. Is that math correct? And the answer is
Yeah, you're right. Thank you for catching that.
not quite. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll make sure it's clean when we send it.
So, okay, I think
Miriam has her hand
yeah,
up.
Miriam.
Yeah, hi. There's also the $50 a month cleaning fee.
That's the estimate, and that's added in. We just said 250 per unit, including the cleaning.
My bad. Sorry, I was late.
No worries, Miriam.
Yeah, no, fair question.
All right. So I'm
But what
gonna,
you missed, Miriam, was me saying, if you vote for it, you're committing to contact your counselors and lobby for it.
so I'm gonna second this proposal because this is
Got
something
it.
that's been,
Chip did already.
oh, sorry.
Yeah,
It-
it's seconded, yeah.
So I'm gonna call for a vote.
If there's no discussion, we can vote. You're right.
Yeah, let's go for a vote.
Well, before we do that, could we correct the math?
Yes, I think we agreed that we're gonna
Oh.
correct the math.
Well, could we actually put the number should be 18,000 annually? Are we agreed on that, a correction?
I had
Yep.
18 too.
Yeah, estimated 18,000.
Right. Thank you. That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Chip, you have
Are
your
we in
hand up?
we in discussion now about this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if that's just your rule that you made up, Steve, to do this or not, but I'm not aware of anything that when I sign
Which-
up for a committee that my vote, I have to do something.
No, you
Yeah.
can't because
I can't, I'm from
you're
Barrytown.
Barry Town. I said
Right.
the city residents.
Yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, so it would be, this would be a strong push. However, you know, this is something the city was promised. This is not just this is my go-to speech. This is not just for folks that are out on the streets. This is something for everybody. Joe, you
Joe
have your
has
hand
his
up?
hand up.
Well, then I have to ask Chip's question, because I
Mhm.
live in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And so is this your rule, Steve, or is this something that's written in stone somewhere that
What are you referring to? A rule?
if we vote yes, we have to lobby?
I'm just telling you this. I'm gonna be on your butts to do it. I
Oh,
can't make a rule, obviously.
what I thought.
Yeah.
checking.
I know where you live, Joe.
Yeah, I know where you live too.
Oh, no threatening, gentlemen, not in my committee.
You guys don't know where I live, do you?
No.
All right, good, I'm safe.
I do.
No, but
That's true.
I do have to say, I agree with Steve that this would be a hard sell because the budget. However, saying, you know, in the same breath, this is not just for folks that are out on the streets. This is for everybody. You know, when you're walking downtown, you know, you need a place to go to the bathroom. You know? Jeremy, you have your hand up?
I just want to say too, like, you know, ultimately it doesn't hurt to ask. And you know, the city may well have good reason to end up vetoing this. You know, given the budget situation, but it'll make the ask more urgent and easier next time if they do
Mhm.
decide to do that. So I don't personally see a downside in asking.
Right.
Other people may have other opinions, but that's where I land on this.
I
Right.
would suggest that if this passes, that and we don't need to take official action, but those of us who are active in city politics will start banging on the manager when he starts preparing the budget for the next year, just to put it in.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I
Yeah.
do know that a lot of businesses and a lot of entities are not happy with people going to the bathroom behind their buildings or on their steps.
now they've done something very worthwhile in Montpelier that may want to think of, independent of passing this, but they have created in Montpelier a spreadsheet of where you have access to restrooms in Montpelier. And in the same way that we've done it for meals here in Barre City, that may be something we want to think about. Now you should rule me out of order for going someplace it's not in the motion.
Okay, so I'm gonna call for, Phil, do you have your hand up?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm just,
You just
I'm musing.
fidgeting, that's fine. All right, so I'm gonna call yet again for a vote. For the going to council for this, for porta potties. For people to
vote
have the right.
yes.
Yes. Stephen? I can't, I'm gonna scroll my screen. All right, we're gonna go. Go with this. All right. All right, so, yay.
Thank you very much, everybody.
And I know, my counselors know me very well, so. And, thank you, Miriam, for the chair. All right. I'm gonna put Stephen oh, I'm gonna put Tess in the hot seat. Tess, are you willing to talk about, the North End rebuild?
Okay, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to make me a host so I can share my screen?
I'm gonna try. How do I? Somebody with more, how do I do that? I know it's a button I push.
There's let me just see if I can do it. Because
Okay, here's how, hold on just a moment.
Oh, here, I got it.
Yeah, you can, if
Got
you
it.
have a security
go.
badge, there you go.
You're host. You should be host now.
Okay.
Okay, but in the future, you do not need to be a co-host to screen share. If you are the host, you will have a security badge and you can make it possible for anybody to share without them being a co-host.
Okay. Oh, all right. That's cool. So, hello, I'm Tess Taylor, and you all know where I live. So, just following up on the last conversation. I'm the homelessness and housing liaison for the city of Barre. So basically, eyes and ears for the city manager, and doing work and on those issues. And I've been pulled a lot into the housing piece and the flood resilience because, for obvious reasons, it's what we've been really working on. So I am going to try to keep up with coming to your meetings to talk about homelessness and what y'all are doing. I tried last month, but for some reason my computer did not want me to join. So, and I was where I'm staying, and now I just came down to my office. This works better. So anyway, so a lot of my work since November for this job, and this, oh, by the way, in case anybody doesn't know, this job is an 18-month grant funded job through the Agency of Human Services, and specifically DCF. So so that's where the money is coming from, and I will have to answer to them too. That's that background. So I've been doing this since November, and it became pretty clear that we needed to, get me working with Nicholas on the flood recovery pieces around housing. So I really I don't work much, somebody else can work with, businesses that are having issues, which don't seem to be as much as in Barre as people in their, their homes. But this little slideshow is something I actually put together for the Kiwanis Club last week. So I thought I will use this, and then I'm going to actually move over and refer to the PowerPoint that Nicholas did for the city council meeting for those who didn't get to go And if there's a few more in those who did, maybe there might be some more deep dive questions that I might be able to help answer. So let's go to slide number 2. Okay. So as we know, on July 10th, 2024, close to 400 structures reported as being affected. And these are the breakdown that we know fairly well. And this information comes from 211 and from Barre up, and a lot of canvassing done in the city between lots of volunteers, and a lot of that was through Barre Up or Rainbow Bridge in the beginning, and also city people themselves, people from the police department and public works going to homes and checking out the neighborhoods. So they seem to be pretty good numbers that stand up for what we had. So 222 single family homes, 112 multifamily, 16 businesses or nonprofit organizations, and then I'm not quite sure what the 18 miscellaneous are unidentifiable. They might be uninhabited garages, things of that sort. I just felt that this is really important in talking with people, but especially Rebecca from the school. There's approximately 2185 students in the Barre Unified Union School District, and 120 students are identified as homeless and 200 in crisis cleanup data. That's a national organization number. You probably know it better. You probably know about this better than I do. So it just was shocking to me that close to 10% of the children going to Barre schools were rendered homeless or living in places not their home, that they're kind of okay, but they're like maybe in a cousin's house, sleeping on a couch, not really in a home. And for the reference, 52 students were deemed homeless in 2019. So pretty awful numbers. And I really applaud all the work that Rebecca is doing. So we started working on this because, as we know, the governor had a proposed plan. It was always meant to be a suggestion, not a directive, but it was very hard to put this in front of people and not have reaction. I reacted, a lot of people, everybody did, about, what does this mean for my home? What does this mean for, the beloved Mutual Club? But it really was supposed to be a suggestion and kind of get people to start thinking about that green area really does need to, we need to start thinking about ways to have floodplain and basin for places for water to go. As y'all know, so I started the North End and ward meetings. I love this photograph of kids playing on Willie Street in 1942. That's the North End. These are children of immigrants who, they're acting out a granite shed with their own found things. And so to me, it's important to not look at the picture of the rendering from the governor and the administration, but more look at things like this that show us that we're talking about neighborhoods. We're talking about where people live and where people have lived and that have a history and there's really great community feeling. So the meetings were geared to be about not just talking about what has happened, but what is going to happen, what can be, what's possible. And it was really important to me to have the big community meeting, but also to split the meetings up into the wards, especially since people in Ward 1, even though they're not in the North End, were affected. And they're affected in different ways. And also, I feel like even if you don't live in the North End, you still have an investment in the city as a whole when you live here. So on January 17th, we had the meeting at the Old Labor Hall, and it was facilitated by Paul Costello, and really tried to honor what people were going through, but then gently try to move people into just start talking about, well, what are possibilities for the future. 150 people attended, and it was really a moving meeting, and we recorded it, so it is available on the city's website to see if you weren't able to go. And then subsequently, we had 3 ward meetings, and the next week, and those meetings were structured all the same. And Ward 1, we had 32 people show up, which I thought was pretty amazing, since Ward 1 not being as immediately affected, but it was great turnout. Ward 2 had 45 people at the Brook Street School. We kind of busted through the walls there. It was a lot of people in a small space, but it was great. And then Ward 3, we had 62 people at the Mutual. We started with if you weren't able to go, we started with a presentation by Stacy Pomeroy, who is with the Vermont Department of Conservation, and she is an expert in rivers, in rivers and watershed management. And so she gave this beautiful presentation, which I'm working with her. I have all of her slides, but it needs a little bit more filling out with explanation, and that is going to go onto the city's website as well. But it was really helpful to have her talk about water and what is possible and what's probably not possible in every situation of water. You've got the big Stevens Branch, but then you've got Gunner's Brook, and then you've got other things happening. So as we try to get experts here to talk about how to manage, we will hear from them more about some of the ways that this can be mitigated, but it's not going to be this one silver bullet answer. So that was really helpful. And then we posed 3 questions of people. And, the first question was about a successful community. How do you vision a neighborhood to have the kind of housing that'll satisfy different needs and attract people to Barre? The second question was, what kind of third places, spaces are in your community now, and what would you like to see in the future? So people imagining, a lot of people talk about the library or churches or schools, different things being a third place that's not where you work and not where you live, but a place where people gather and where there's resources. So a lot of really nice things bubbled up from that. And then after having seen Stacy's program, let's talk about infrastructure. Where do we find what works well, and what do we think could happen in the future? So we've got some good information from those questions, and interrupt at any point if you want to, but I won't be able to see hands. And then also we did surveys. I hope some of you were able, or all of you, I hope were able to find a survey and fill it out. We had them online. We had them around different places. We had them at the meetings, and 142 people did fill out the surveys, which I thought was actually a really healthy number of people. And the questions fell into 3 areas. Groups of questions. Tell us about you and your neighborhood. Tell us about your views on the city and services, and tell us what you'd like to see for the future of North End development. And so in Nicholas's slides, we'll we'll talk more about with some of the things that people said and what we gleaned from this. It's pretty, between the meetings and the surveys, we seem to get some really good information, but also I think part of my aim was to start getting people to start talking to each other, talking about the future, trying to imagine what's possible. And so it doesn't end here. You know, to me, this was a good way to start having conversations with people. I was really, you know, when we were doing this, I really wanted to do this in a ward setting because I think that I firmly believe that we can start having more structured ward meetings with citizens from the wards running them and talking about issues that are that they want to talk about their neighborhood, and that this could be a regular thing. And especially since we're trying to heal and take care of people, but we're also trying to move forward with what new kind of housing we can develop, what can be happening, that people are engaged in it the whole way through. So I just don't want anybody to think that this work stops because we just got some good information and now we're going to run with it. And I feel like the city manager is really, he's also invested in that as well.
So Tess, I have a couple, maybe a couple questions or statements, whatever. But you say you're going to have ward meetings. What about folks that are experiencing homelessness that aren't really part of a ward? How are they involved?
Well, if they want to identify, I mean, you can always identify with a ward if you want to, you know, I mean, if you feel like, okay, I spend most of my time in this space, so I would go to those meetings.
And when you had these meetings, they were at like 6 o'clock when the shelters have a curfew for 6 o'clock.
Well, that's
So-
really good. That's really good feedback and information, Erica. I don't see that in moving forward, there's any reason to not structure it differently. You know, because the thing is I mean, I firmly believe that ward meetings should be run by the people there, not by the city councilors that serve the ward. They should be invited, and I think it'd be great if they always attended.
And so like when I was looking at this, I don't know where these surveys were, so because I know I didn't see any. So I didn't fill a survey out. And you keep saying they're going to be on the city's website. I don't know if you noticed the city's website is a complete disaster. And it's really hard to find stuff on it. So I don't know where the surveys were. So I don't know how people had access to them.
Yeah. Well, we tried to put them in every place that we tried to get the word out in every place that you would normally try to get the word out. We had some out in businesses, but we also used Front Porch Forum and The World and TA. You know, we tried to get that word out as best we can. And I know that I will admit that I think that the way we have such scattershot ways of communicating now, when it wasn't, you know, it used to be like one line. Now it's many lines and it's easy to miss it. So, you know, I'm sorry that you missed it, but, you know, we'll just keep trying to do better.
Okay. Tess, I have a question.
Yep.
So the filled out surveys, like the answer to the question, tell us what you'd like to see for future North End development. Were the answers divided up by where the respondent lived in the city? Because I'm thinking what somebody in not the North End sees happening in the North End might be significantly different than what the North End would want. If I lived there, I would want back what I had. I would want my house. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm asking?
I do know what you mean. I can actually do a deeper dive into who said what from what ward. Because people pretty much identified what ward they were in. That was a question. I didn't for the purposes of, they're actually in the next series of slides. Let's see.
Hold on, Miriam also has her hand up.
I was just gonna agree with what Phil said. That was something I thought about as well.
Yeah, and I can do it. You know, I didn't do it for pretty much for expedience sake, and but I'm pretty sure I can, because I have it all like, you know, I have it all in a spreadsheet, and maybe the software can do it for me, or maybe I have to glean it out. But it actually, I couldn't,
Because again,
the information's all there.
not to interrupt, but Erica made a very good point as well. And you said Gunnerbrook, and that's directly next to one of the shelters.
Mm-hmm.
They were our homeless community members were directly impacted.
Yeah.
I don't have an opinion. I just wanted to jump in and say, Tess, feel free to reach out if you have any, if you want any help with the data side of stuff.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep, it is my day job, so I'm
okay. I used Wufoo. Are you familiar with?
No
kind of
idea
like-
what that is, actually.
What's that?
I have no idea what that is.
It's kind
but-
of, I think it's owned by SurveyMonkey. I think
Okay.
they, so it's that kind of thing. It's it's got strength up to a point.
In any case, let me know if you want help. I'm happy to.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, so this is Nicholas's, that's the slides that he did for city council last week. I don't know if everybody got to go to that meeting, but it's pretty much using the data that I put together. And so pretty much the same thing. A lot of canvassing did happen. I know that when we were talking about trying to get people out to the meetings, and we went specifically to the North End, because at this point that was like what I had bandwidth for with volunteers before the meeting. And in the canvassing, our canvassers did go to, they went to the Budget Inn, and they went to places where they knew people were, homeless or struggling. And so some of that did get captured into this data as well. So who responded? Half the people were identified as the North End. Almost the other half was they live in Barre, but not in the North End. And then the and the green was I feel connected. And then here's the ward structure. Most of the people were Ward 3, and then interestingly, a lot of Ward 1, some of Ward 2, and then there are people that weren't sure, or they don't live in Barre, but they picked up a survey and did it. And it looks like 2/3 of the people were affected by the flooding. And affected is it's a very squishy word, because you could be affected just by the fact that it's upsetting, and you wanted to be helpful or whatever. You didn't have to be directly we didn't get specific about that. Let's see. It was important to me to ask people, were you aware that this was going on? And basically we were talking about the conversations that were happening, that the city council has to make a plan in order to gain any kind of funding. And this is a long-term funding, over the next 5 years. What can we glean from the state and federal governments and other funding places can only be done if we have a plan. And so, that's why the governor plopped that, the administration plopped that piece down in front of us, and was to really actually, get the ball rolling. So I wanted to make sure that, we knew that people were aware that this was going on. And, so most said yes, and the majority of the rest said, I'm somewhat aware. And some said they're not sure, and some said no. And then, asking, are you open to change? And, and if you want to, any of the very specific questions, I can tell you, let's see, what exactly the question said. But basically it's just, are you, and it's healthy. Yes, with yes, and yes with reservations, where most people not sure, and then some people are definitely not. What kind of development would you most and least like to see? So this was very telling. In the majority was a mix of single family homes, multiple family places, and apartment buildings. And then the second one, what they would most like to see is a mix of multi and apartment buildings, interestingly enough. There's people anecdotally, I think people thought that these results were going to be different and than it was exactly, but this is what it is. And then, and then I felt like it was important to say, what would you like really not want to see? And so the fewest people, people in this very little yellow wedge said a mix of the three. So it just became really clear that, and like I said, these are the people from the surveys, but they were saying, we really want to see a healthy mix of single family homes, multi-family homes, and apartment buildings. And so, so we took that information and what land uses do you support? Most people want green areas and recreational areas, walking paths, bike paths, and strategically placed bus stops. And so I think those kinds of things are going to be really important for public input as we talk about those and develop them, like what is actually going to work for most people, and not just have one person or some design firm decide, what a series of walking paths and what kind of rec fields, people deciding for Barre what Barre wants. We want us to decide that. And then I asked a lot of questions about, is the city of Barre safe? Do you feel like you're safe? And more people said they did. But a lot of people said they didn't. And then the last wedge is they're not sure. Our city service is responsive. More people than not thought they are, and these are, and a lot of people, are people that use services. And is Barre walkable? Let me see how is it easy to walk around the city, and is the city in good repair? So the blue, the biggest wedge said no. And then the red said yes, and the green said not sure. So I think that is a flag to the city that really needs work. People like our parks and outdoor areas, and they do feel that the downtown is accessible. Pre and post flood services. Most people felt that our services are pretty good pre-flood. Let me see what how I asked it. Before the flood, I felt city services were good. And after the flood, I felt city services were good. And so people are mostly happy with the services, but that's a big enough wedges of people that aren't, or people that are not sure, to still feel like, we've got work to do. And then I really wanted to talk to people about their neighbors. I like my neighbors. People like their neighbors. Kids like their school. Well, most of the people this doesn't apply to. They don't have children. They don't have children in our schools. But the majority of the people that do, they said yes. And well-located bus stops. That's a pretty even split of yes, no, and not sure. I know as a person who take buses a lot, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. What do you like about your neighborhood? It's convenient. And what I asked was, I think my neighborhood's convenient for shopping and going to, getting my goods and going to work. And most people said yes. My people are here, and I define that as friends, family, people who help you, in some way. And so, and I just referred to it as my people. And most people felt like yes. And they feel like it's their home. And it's a way for them to reflect on that that question as well, because we can get very negative about things, but this is my home. And so the key themes from the ward meetings, and so this is what we had a lot of note takers at the ward at all the meetings. And so in housing, they would like mixed use housing with services, childcare, playgrounds, pathways to home ownership, housing for people who go through buyouts, develop vacant lots, infill housing, walkability to downtown, financial support for damaged houses. Those were like the overarching themes about housing. Quality of life issues. We need playgrounds, green space, we could use the floodplain for those things. People want parks, community gardens, and sports fields. People mentioned things like having a satellite library in the North End, a coffee shop, a grocery store, and walking paths. Resiliency. A lot of people watch or listen to Stacey Pomeroy, and then they came out with fix the low bridges, remove the trestle, which happened at the last city council meeting. That is going to happen. That one trestle bridge that is not being used for anything but gumming up the works, trying to, as the river is trying to move out of here. Create more floodplain, upsize culverts, work regionally with the state and other municipalities, and remove dams.
I hate to interrupt.
Yeah.
Are you gonna send us this so we can see it?
I can. It's in, because it is kind of buried in the city council report. But I can definitely do that for you, Miriam. Thanks.
I can see the slides, and like having you read them to me is like getting it's almost 8 o'clock. I'm feeling a little anxiety about getting done on time.
Okay. Well, sorry. It was a lot of work. So I guess what I want to say is I can move on to there was a lot of technical stuff that Nicholas went through in his slides, but these yellow areas are areas where people have asked to be bought out. So far, that's not done. I know that we're going to start getting more people asking, but this is what we have so far. So he presented to the council a plan. I'm just going to move ahead here. to think about some things that we could do with what we have. Nobody's going to try it. Nobody wants to use eminent domain to take anybody's property away. That's not in anybody's best interest, and nobody is going to do that. But if you see the yellow areas on here, this is where people have asked. And so this is North Main Street, and we're talking about buildings up here, which is between 2nd and 3rd. And I just sent out a proposal today seeking letters of interest for developers. We're actually going to take the Wabi Playground, which is up next to the public safety building. And we're offering that out for people to develop housing on it. And we're going to create a new playground in the north end and keep the Wabi name. And the Wabi family is excited about that because they think that this is really important. So that's going out right now. We're thinking that that could be generate a 28 to 30 unit building. On Seminary Street, we already have a proposal to build 30, up to around 30. I mean, I think they could even be up to 32 units of housing and there. And then in this area here where we've got the two playground or the two squares, we're talking about seeing how we can encourage development of that for more housing. So the housing is, we want it to be mixed housing, and we want it to be, affordable, and whatever that means today, I don't know. So hard to even think of things being affordable, but this is what we're working on. We have to, if we're going to be taking housing away, we have to replenish it, and we have to do more than just swap out, because as you all know, there's a great need for more housing and more diverse housing.
So Tess,
yep.
because I'm a stickler for time, and I'm gonna have to stop you there just because I like to end on time.
Okay.
I apologize. Can you send me the slides and I can send it out to the committee? Thank you so very much. This is a lot of information. I'm going to keep.
I know it's a lot. It's been a lot of work.
I know. I so appreciate it. And Miriam, thank you for doing a time check. Chip, yes.
Yeah.
Can I just ask one
Miriam.
question? Tessa, I didn't know, I'm Chip. Hi. I didn't know the deal with the governor's suggestion or proposal. Where did that end up with the city?
Well, it was just that, and I just was going to move along to the slides of some of the things that we are going to do, talking about mitigating flood, using mitigating floodplain and possibilities for building. So if you could think about it, I'll say it really quickly. Going from upstream, where Desiro's machine shop is, and on the other side of the river is River Street. That will likely become all floodplain. There will be no more Desiro's machine shop. They want to be bought out. Most of the people on River Street want to be bought out. So that could be a place where water could spread out before it's still raging on down to, and then we would love to raise the Berlin Street Bridge. I'm just kind of going down, going downstream. Raise the Berlin Street Bridge, because that stopped up a lot of water and created a lot of damage. Scampini Square, that's going to be bought out and probably just made a floodplain. And that's Scampini Square and Vine Street. And then working on trying to get some more ways to make green space on North Main Street, down towards where like Salvation Army is, in that area, to create a plane so that the houses around it and above it are protected. And then also Harrington Ave, and that's Gunner's Brook. There are people there that want to be bought out. City also owns property there. That could be a place where water is more spread out in a floodplain to make it safer for the people below it.
Okay, so thank you, Tess. I know there's probably a zillion more questions we could ask Tess, but time is short. Just very quickly wrap up. We're gonna get the surveys to Jeremy by the 20th. Miriam, I'm gonna touch base with you about that via text. Thank you for all that you do. Next meeting date is, I rely on Stephen for this,
April 3rd.
April 3rd.
I
Thank
know
you.
I'm-
I'm gonna interrupt. We have no requirement about stopping at 8. And we have an agenda
We
and,
have no requirement about stopping at 8, correct? But I like to keep it at an hour because it is late in the evening. And people's time is very precious to me.
while I appreciate that, we have another item on the agenda and I am gonna cover it quickly on
Okay.
legislation. The bill on the, Bill of Rights for Homeless Citizens has passed the House. It is in the Senate in Economic Development and Keisha's Ram Hinsdale's committee. I would suggest that if you favor that you contact our 3 state senators and tell them that you would want to see that bill passed. I think you will get a positive reception. The bill that would put a moratorium for a year or so on no-cause evictions is still on the wall in House General. It will probably get folded into the omnibus housing bill, but that hasn't happened yet. And the omnibus housing bill is still undergoing a ton of work, and there's no way that I can easily acquaint people with what's going on that. I'm going to suggest that for our next meeting, we invite one of our representatives to come give us a summary of legislation rather than me doing it secondhand. Also, be aware that the city of Montpelier voters yesterday voted to amend the charter to ban no-cause evictions. We have a tough road here in Barre, but I think that should be a prime goal. It is a prime goal of the Housing Organizing Committee of Vermont Interfaith Action. And I told you it would be brief. I'm done.
There you have it.
Thank you for
Miriam,
the-
you had your hand up?
I did. I just wanted to tell Stephen that I appreciate those emails that you send out about the legislation, because that's not necessarily something I follow, and it's good information and I appreciate it.
Okay, so I can reach out to Jonathan or Anthony to come to our next meeting. How's that sound?
That's
Chip.
good. And we have to get this, remember, maybe Philip can do this. I'll talk to him, but we want to get the resolution that we passed to the council and the city manager in the next couple of days so that it's on the agenda for next Tuesday.
I can send that out to Nicholas.
I think Chip,
Copy it to the council.
All right, Chip, you have a,
I'll go quick. I know we want to go, but remember way back, I talked to you guys about H-171, and it was at the very tail end of the session. I
Yeah.
ran into a guy who's very well known in terms of modular homes and manufactured homes, trailers, all that kind of stuff.
okay,
And I asked him, have you been up on this? What are you doing? They haven't even put out the request for proposals yet. When did the budget pass? I mean, they
I don't-
have not put together a request for proposals yet. And I think like manufactured homes and stuff like that is the answer. It's the only affordable answer that's out there besides HUD, which isn't out there. So
Mm.
I don't know, it just pisses me off that, an effort like that to hold up the budget, to put something in that they
And that'll be something we could
Probably
talk
didn't have
to,
any interest in putting in really sucks. But
Saying this
yeah,
city-
that's just my opinion.
right. And
Anyway.
I will
yeah,
send you all a link to H171. I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah, it's,
is there anything that the city hasn't put in the budget?
No, the state.
The
State.
state.
so I'll invite Williams or Anthony or both of them to our next meeting. We could talk to them. So yes, so wrap up. Jeremy needs surveys by the 20th. I'll talk to Nicholas and I'll talk to Williams or Anthony to come to our next meeting. And Tess, thank you so much. My dog is barking. I apologize. Thank you for all that you do. I know we don't have to end exactly at 8, but your time is very valuable to me, so thank you. Have a great month.
Thank
Sure.
you,
thanks,
everyone.
Erica. Stay
Thanks.
well, Erica.
Yes,
Thanks.
Erica.